Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Hey guys, I'm right here. I'm right here. Hey, hey. So I was gonna go a little bit more into significant figures and rounding when you're doing calculations, and really short, just like 3 or 4 problems, and particularly most of these problems are gonna have like multiple steps involved. Okay, so let's start with the first one that I have here. This will be our only single step problem. Let's say, oh, let's go. That's not going to work, is it? There. Okay, so let's write down here 9.65 times 10 to the negative second meters. And let's multiply that by 6.59 times 10 to the negative fourth meters. Notice that when I'm working with you guys, I keep putting, oh my, I so apologize for that. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I've noticed that I keep putting units with my numbers. That's because Miss Murphy wants you to be very comfortable with units. I want you to understand how they work. And real soon, you're going to be required to put units with your numbers, okay? So I want you to just feel comfortable with those. Right, I just type those two numbers into my calculator. What I see, first of all, is my answers in scientific notation, okay? I could take that number out of scientific notation in this calculator if I wanted. Normally I would show you how to do that, but this number is kind of big, so I'm not going to do that. What I see here is 6.35935 times 10 to the negative fifth units, meter times a meter, meters squared. Now check your sig figs. Students always forget to do this. This has 3, this has 3. My answer should have 3. Remember, I'm multiplying, so I need to look at my values and get the least sig figs. 3 is the least, and this here should only have 3. Now that does not mean I'm going to keep the first 3 digits. It means I'm going to round to the first 3 digits. I look to the right. A 9 is a 5 or greater. Therefore, my 5 needs to round up to a 6. And my final answer is 6.36 times 10 to the negative fifth meters squared. Okay, it's very important that you learn to present your answers correctly and rounded correctly and with the correct number of significant digits. All right, let's do another example and we'll have multiple steps. Let's have 35 grams plus 35.5 grams is actually a one type of problem. It's not multiple steps. Okay, grams. Let's add those guys. So I'm just going to pull out my calculator. I could probably do this almost quicker in my head, but oh, I just don't feel like that right now. Okay, so I've added these values up. Notice that my calculator is in scientific notation, so don't forget to look over there, guys. And I can easily just move that in my head to get 105.65. All right, a gram plus a gram plus a gram is just a gram. Now I've got to remember that Miss Murphy's not seeing if I can add 3 measurements. Miss Murphy is checking my knowledge of significant figures and calculations. So I'm adding, so I'm going to look behind the decimal, nothing, 1, 2 digits. This obviously has the least amount of digits after my decimal. So get out of here. What I'm going to do is, this is just a quick review, I'm allowed to have no digits after my decimal. However, that 6 being larger than a 5 or a 5 and above gives me 106 grams. Okay, now let's go backwards. Let's rewrite this problem. Okay, let us rewrite this problem, and it equals 105.65 grams. Let's pretend there were parentheses around it. And let's pretend that that number were divided by, let's pretend that that number were then divided by, 3.8 milliliters. Now, in my first step, the answer to the math problem gave me this. If I did not need to go any further, I would round and give the answer like we just did. Let's say the answer is 106 grams. Now, however, I'm not finished with this math problem. I still need to divide this answer by the 3.8 milliliters, right? So I will not go ahead and round this. I'll put a line over this that tells me right here is my last significant digit, okay? However, I will keep the entire value and I will divide it by 3.8 milliliters, okay? Okay. I've got 105.65 divided by 3.8. My calculator, notice there's an exponent over here. My calculator gives me 27.8026. That is a gram divided by a milliliter. Let me get over here, guys. So that is grams per milliliter. Now, okay, so I divided a number that really only had 3 sig figs with a number that had 2 sig figs. So my answer, when dividing, means your answer should have as many sig figs as the measurement with the least. This has 2. My answer, first 2, do I need to round it up? Yes, is 28 grams per milliliter. Okay. Let's do another one. It's going to be very similar to that. I'll put it down here. So keep those there. No, let's clean that mess up. Okay. You've got it on your paper. Let's say that we have 4.59 grams plus 4 grams plus 6.52 grams. And we're going to divide that by 2.6 milliliters, right? I'm not here to see if you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. We are dealing with significant figures. 4.59 plus 4 plus 6.52. My calculator is in scientific notation. It says times 10 to the 1. So I've got 15.11. A gram plus a gram plus a gram is a gram. Now I'm not done with this, but I'm going to go ahead and put a line to where my last significant figure should be. Now I'm adding these. So I'm going to look behind the decimal. 2, nothing, and 2. So this tells me my answer should have nothing behind the decimal. So at this point, this is my last significant figure. Okay. Okay. I'm going to divide that. I'm not going to do any rounding yet by 2.6 milliliters divided by 2.6. And my calculator gives me 5.811. I've got 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs, grams per milliliter. My answer is 5.8 grams per milliliter. Okay. Let's do that same problem. Let's go like this. Let me see if this actually is going to work. No. Let's do that. Let's do 4.59 grams plus 4 grams plus 6.52 grams, okay? In parentheses, let's divide that. Let me get rid of this so it's not around you. There, how about that, sorry. Let's divide that by 9 milliliters, all right? 4.59 plus 4 plus, I know I just had it, but I erased it. It's going to be 15.11 grams, okay? We added 2 behind the decimal, nothing behind the decimal, nothing behind the decimal. My answer should have nothing behind the decimal. However, I'm not going to get rid of those. I'm going to put a line right here that tells me that's my last significant figure. I'm going to put divided by, and I'm going to divide it by 9 milliliters. So I'm going to go to my calculator and divide by 9. The number was already in there. I get 1.678 repeating gram per milliliter. Let's look at our sig figs. I've got 2, I've got 1. I'm only allowed to have 1. Keep the first, look to the right. It's larger, round it up to 2 grams per milliliter. All right, so you don't want to round in the middle of the problem, but you do want to carry your significant figures with you. Keep track of where they end, okay? I'll do one more. How about that? Okay, so let's do 5.669 grams plus 5.69 grams. Let's make it meters this time, guys. I'm tired of grams. Let's do meters. Let's divide that by 1.5 seconds. And let's see what we get, if there's anything interesting here. 5.669 plus 5.69 equals 11.359 meters. All right, let's not round yet because we're not done. This has 3 behind the decimal, 2 behind the decimal, 2 is less than 3. I'm allowed to keep 2 behind my decimal. But I'm not going to round to my value. I'm going to divide it by 1.5 seconds. Come to my calculator, divide it by 1.5 equals, and that's going to give me 7.5726. I'm not going to need all this, meters per second. Now let's look at our sig figs. I had a number that had 4 significant figures divided by a number with 2. I should go with the least, keep it, look to the right, round it up, 7.6 meters per second. Don't round in the middle of your problem. Save the rounding for the end. Keep track of your sig figs. All right, I think we're gonna stop right there, guys. Okay, so we'll call that what? Significant figures and calculations and rounding. Okay, I always like to kind of say bye. Bye. I hope you're hanging in there. All the numbers will go away soon, only to come back with vengeance later. Okay, see you later.